This is Roger Stone for American Sovereign Bullion. Since 2020, the U.S. dollar has lost over 20% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to rise. Call 844-272-2428 or go to asbgold.com now to get your free gold and silver guide and learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver delivered to your door or held in a gold IRA today. So go to asbgold.com now. Don't wait for the markets to drop. That's asbgold.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi. Okay,
this is the 77 WABC minicast.
War in Iran. My head is spinning. President Trump is negotiating with Iran, and the American public is sort of in the middle. And what's a threat? What's reality? What's spin? What's posturing? We don't care about the Strait of Hormuz. No, we do care about the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran better relinquish control immediately. It's going to be over in 2 weeks. It's not going to be over in 2 weeks. Maybe we'll have a deal tomorrow. If we don't have a deal, we're going to bomb everything. But the one thing the president did say, which resonated, was we have to eliminate the threat of nuclear weapons by Iran. To do that, we have to get the enriched uranium. All the experts say to do that, you have to put feet on the ground in Iran in a dangerous situation. That's where we are. Can I make sense of it? No. Yes, I think it's right to eliminate the threat of a nuclear weapon by Iran. I think it would be a great legacy for the president. I don't know how that happens without putting many lives at risk, American lives, and possibly losing lives. But luckily, there's a much smarter man than I on this topic. Colonel Jack Jacobs is with us to give us his thought, retired colonel from the United States Army, Medal of Honor recipient of 2 Silver Stars, 3 Bronze Stars, 2 Purple Hearts, an author, a great citizen, has done all sorts of good work for people. My father was a big fan of the colonel. My entire family are big fans. I was with my sister Maria, and she's been inspired by the colonel's work. She runs an organization that helps veterans. Colonel Jacobs, thank you very much. Happy Easter. Thank you for being with us. Tell us.
Happy Easter. Thank you very much for the kind words, but I've got kind words for your family too, but particularly Maria. And you're absolutely right about the great work that she has done for a long, long time, not just for veterans, but for everybody in the community, Governor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Colonel. So where are we, Colonel? What's going to happen?
Well, you mentioned getting the fissile material. It's very interesting that we happen to be focusing on that because it is going to do it's going to require all the things you're talking about. That is, we're going to have to secure a fairly substantial area in a hostile environment. We're talking mostly about the area around Isfahan, which is about where we collected the downed airmen. And that's going to require an enormous force. There are 2 things to remember about this. The area is going to have to be secured for a relatively long period of time. And it's going to have the acquiescence of the Iranian government, particularly the army. And I don't think anybody sees how that's going to happen anytime soon. You'll have to have some sort of internal revolt among the Republican guards to seize control of the country from the mullahs and the more obnoxious elements of the army. But nobody sees that coming anytime soon either, because you're going to have to secure the area, and we're going to have engineers and a wide variety of other people in that area for weeks. Don't forget that the fissile material is all underground. It's all the surrounding terrain is collapsed on top of it and so on. So if what we really want to do if that's the objective, to get the fissile material out, I don't think anybody sensible sees that happening without an enormous expenditure of resources, and that includes time, money, and maybe even lives. If you want to make sure that the Iranians don't get to it, that's a heck of a lot easier to do, quite frankly, because we have eyes on that spot and other spots where there is probably some fissile material all the time, from both satellite observation and other observation. And the instant that the Iranians try to get that fissile material, we can strike it. So it's much easier to keep the Iranians from getting it than it is to go in there and get it ourselves, and thinking people kind of dismiss the notion that we're going to go in there with Americans and allies in 3 or 4 weeks and bulldozers and get any of this stuff. So that doesn't make a great deal of sense, Governor.
Is it feasible? Is it a feasible plan that would be effective that says we're going to view from a satellite the sites where we believe there's the enriched uranium? If they go near those sites, then we take action. But we don't.
Yeah, that's much easier to do than going in ourselves. And we've got eyes on them all the time. It's very easy to launch precision-guided munitions from remote locations outside the territory of Iran and make sure that nobody collects that fissile material. And Iran knows it, too. So talking about putting a bunch of people on the ground to go collect it, I mean, we could do it, I suppose, but it's an extremely risky proposition. And nobody in uniform who's thinking about this clearly would recommend doing that, without the caveat that there are going to be substantial losses, which just about everybody thinks that that President Trump does not want to see. So it's probably not going to happen the way he's telegraphing it.
How would you know, Colonel, that you know all the sites where they have this material? I'll tell you before you answer. My Italian grandmother, she was always afraid somebody was going to break in the house. She had a few pieces of jewelry. She'd hide a couple of pieces in one place, a couple of pieces in another place, a couple of pieces in another place. I once said to her grandma, "What? Why 4 different hiding places?" She said, "Well, if they find one, they won't find the other ones." How do you know where it is?
Well, that's a good point. We don't know where all of it is, but we know 2 things. We know, A, where the majority of it is, where the enriched uranium is that they've been working on, and B, we also know where the centrifuges are, and that's what's required in order to further enrich uranium to weapons grade. So we don't have to know where all of it is. We just have to know where the majority of it is, and we do.
But you could do that now. Then forget everything. If you can just do it from a satellite in the sky, just end it now. Say, here's the deal. We're going to watch. If you go near these sites, then all hell is going to break loose, which President Trump could find a way to say with much more vehemence than I say it. You could do that now.
Yeah, we could. And as a matter of fact, I think we may have mentioned this. We may have talked about this before, but somebody asked, what's the off-ramp? What's Trump's off-ramp? And of course, it's like a lot of things that he's done. He just says, "We've won," and go home. I mean, that's always an option. And that's what's in his back pocket. I mean, he can articulate the following. We meant to knock off the regime, and boy, we've really knocked off most of the people in the chain of command, all the way down to some certain level, and it's going to take them forever to recover, to get enough leadership to do the kinds of things we don't want them to do, foster terrorism and so on, for them to do it again. So we've done that. We gave the Iranian people an opportunity to rise up, and they didn't do it. So I did my best. I put our best folks on it. We did whatever we could, and they didn't rise to the fore and knock off the theocracy. So we've been successful in getting rid of the leadership there, and we've been successful in making sure that they can't get to the fissile material. So we've done our job and go home. I mean, he he can explain anything any way he wants and carry on. And that's the expectation over the next, 2 to 4 weeks.
I don't think you saw that, Colonel. Mr. President, you didn't say we were going in there just to knock off the regime and hope that the people rose up. You said we had to go in there, and this was all about making sure they didn't have a nuclear weapon. That's why we're paying a higher cost of gasoline. That's why we've had all this chaos. Thankfully, the number of casualties has been low, and heroic rescue. But if you could have just watched them from a satellite and made sure they didn't have a nuclear weapon, if you could have done that all along, then why?
Well, now you're being too logical, Governor. So, I mean, he's never been accused of being consistent. You said it yourself. We're going to do X. We're not going to do X. It's going to be Y. It's not going to be Y. And in the end, he can say whatever he wants and then move on to the next hole like a golf game. I mean, that's the way he's always operated, and there's no reason to expect he will do anything different. If he can't get what he wants, he'll just declare victory and go home. I mean, he's done that before, and he'll probably do it again.
So your money says there'll never be boots on the ground.
You should never say never or always, but I can't envision a circumstance in which we want to put boots on the ground and take the enormous risk that a lot of them are going to get killed. Don't forget, even if we isolate a fairly substantial portion around Isfahan so that we can secure the area against ground attack from the Republican Guards or anybody else, all of our troops on the ground are at enormous risk from indirect fire and from missiles, which, by the way, Iran has been husbanding exactly against that possibility. So they're holding back on a lot of what their munitions are, just in case we put boots on the ground, and so that they can kill them. I think the administration is betting perhaps on one thing, and that is that if we put people on the ground on Karg Island, which is the major transshipment point for crude oil, that the Iranians will not put missiles on top of our troops for fear of destroying their own infrastructure. But, if you and you're Iran and you perceive this as you're that regime that is the theocracy backed by the army who are, they're in a symbiosis. They feed on each other, and they're both crooks and all the rest of that stuff. And they're both terrorists. So they feed on each other and they support each other. If you're those guys and you perceive an existential threat whereby the United States is going to foment some sort of revolution from inside your ranks, you're going to do whatever you think is necessary in order to prevent that from happening. And if the United States puts people on, let's say, Karg Island or one of the other islands in the Gulf leading up to the Straits, you're going to put missiles on top of them and put a lot of pain on the United States. I mean, the administration is not completely stupid. They've gone through this calculus. I mean, the whole country went nuts when we lost 3 aircraft and the possibility of 1 airman. I think that was a major inflection point, and I think that the administration is going to think twice about putting large numbers of American troops in harm's way, Governor.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. I don't think the president will have the appetite for that. He doesn't have the political capital, frankly, to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a major point we should not forget. I mean, at the end of the day, he's basically a political animal, and his perception, your perception is his perception. He doesn't have he can push the envelope so far. We're coming up to the midterms. He can push the envelope so far, but not too far.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Colonel, thank you. As always, pleasure to be with you. I'll tell Maria you said hello. Happy Easter.
Please do.
Will do.
Happy Easter. Happy Easter.
Thank you.
This is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.